We're all taught to save our money. It feels responsible, it feels safe, and it really feels like the most direct path to financial security. But what if that's only part of the picture? Today, we're going to dig into a really interesting idea from our source material: why saving alone won't make you rich. For most of us, putting money aside is one of the first and most important financial lessons we learn. It's all about building that safety net, preparing for a rainy day, and just feeling secure. And that's a good thing.
And this feeling leads to a pretty common belief, right? The logic seems simple. If I just save more and more, eventually I'll become wealthy. You just accumulate enough cash and you're there.
But let's pause on that for a second. We need to ask a really critical question here. When we look back, has just saving without doing anything else ever really created significant long-term wealth for anyone? The material we're looking at today suggests that the answer is probably not. To see why, we need to understand what saving is really for. So let's start right there with the actual purpose of saving. It's not about growth. It's a tool for something completely different, and that's stability. So, the formal definition of saving is setting money aside without putting it at risk. The whole point is to have stability so you know your money is safe, liquidity so you can get to it quickly, and of course, protection against all those unknowns in life. Think of it as your financial foundation.
But here's the catch. There's this invisible force that's always working against the money you have saved. And that brings us to our next big idea: the effect of inflation.
And this is absolutely crucial to understand. The dollar amount you see in your savings account, well, that's just a number. Its real value, what you can actually buy with it, is not a fixed thing. It's always changing. And the reason it changes is inflation. All inflation really means is that over time, stuff gets more expensive. Prices for goods and services go up. So each dollar you have saved buys a little bit less than it did before. In other words, its purchasing power goes down. I know that can sound a little abstract, so let's just use a super simple example to see exactly how this works.
Okay, take a look at this. In year one, you've got $100 saved, and the thing you want to buy costs exactly $100. Perfect, you can buy it. But let's say there's just 3% inflation. By year two, that same item now costs $103. Your saved money? It's still just $100. So what's the takeaway here? The number of dollars you had didn't change, but their power did. You can't afford that item anymore. This slow, quiet erosion of purchasing power is exactly why saving, by itself, isn't a strategy for building wealth in the long run. So if saving is for stability, how is wealth actually created? Well, that brings us to a completely different concept: the engine of growth.
See, wealth creation is all about growth. It's what happens when money isn't just sitting on the sidelines, but is actually put to work in things we call productive assets, things that can generate more value over time, either by producing something, earning income, or just becoming more valuable.
So what are these productive assets? Well, think of things like businesses that create products and services, or infrastructure projects that make the economy run, or even innovation, new technologies and better ways of doing things. These are the real engines of an economy. Now, this big difference between saving for stability and investing for growth, well, it introduces another really important economic idea: the unseen trade-off we call opportunity cost. Opportunity cost sounds a little academic, but it's a really simple and powerful idea. Every time you make a choice, you are also choosing not to do something else. The opportunity cost is simply the value of the path you didn't take. So when you choose the path of saving your money to keep it safe and stable, you are, by definition, not choosing the path of investing it. The opportunity cost is all that potential growth you're giving up by not putting that money into those productive assets. You're giving up the chance to participate in the growth of the economy. So let's bring this all together. It's really not about one being good and the other being bad. It's about understanding that we're talking about two very different tools that are designed for two very different jobs. This slide really nails the key difference. Saving is your anchor. It gives you stability and quick access to your cash. But because of inflation, its real value is likely to go down over time. Wealth creation, on the other hand, is your engine. It's for growth. It involves risk, yes, but it offers the potential for your money's real value to actually increase, hopefully faster than inflation. So, to quickly recap the main points. First, saving is absolutely vital for your financial stability.
Second, inflation is always there, working in the background to reduce the power of your saved money. Third, creating real wealth requires putting money into productive assets that can grow. And finally, every decision to save comes with an opportunity cost, the growth you're potentially missing out on. And all of this leads us to the core conclusion from our source material, which is summed up perfectly right here. Saving is therefore a financial tool for stability, not a mechanism for long-term wealth accumulation. It has a critical job to do, but that job just isn't making you rich.
Which leaves us with a final question to think about. If saving is what provides that stable foundation, then what is the role of growth? Maybe it's the difference between simply preserving what you already have and actually building what you hope to achieve.